The NFL doesn't hand out suspensions lightly, but Jeudy may have crossed that line. During a tense sideline moment caught on live broadcast, Jeudy erupted at rookie QB Shedeur Sanders in what witnesses called an aggressive and unprofessional exchange. For a player who's faced scrutiny over on-field performance this season, the outburst seemed to reflect more than just competitive fire. It looked like frustration boiling over. That pressure cooker of ego, underachievement, and internal tension has now prompted league officials to launch a full investigation into Jeudy's behavior.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
If Jeudy's facing consequences, it's because moments like these test the integrity of a team. The Browns now have a choice: continue down a path that tolerates emotional volatility, or pivot toward a future defined by professionalism and composure. In Sanders, they've seen flashes of resilience and promise under difficult circumstances. If they believe in building something sustainable, the handling of this situation, discipline, culture, and commitment, could define more than just a season. It could shape the entire direction of the franchise. Jeudy's NFL career just took a sharp left turn, and the entire league is watching. During a tense moment on the Browns sideline, Jeudy was caught in a heated exchange with rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders, an interaction that didn't just raise eyebrows, it sparked a full-blown investigation by the league. Cameras captured Jeudy getting visibly aggressive, stepping into Sanders' space, gesturing wildly and reportedly shouting loud enough for sideline mics to catch fragments. It didn't take long for the footage to go viral. Within hours, NFL insiders were reporting that the league was taking a serious look at whether Jeudy's actions constituted a violation of the conduct policy. This wasn't your average sideline disagreement over a busted route. This was intense, personal, and very public. And in an era where every move is dissected by sports media, fans, and teammates alike, this kind of confrontation doesn't just disappear, it sticks. The Browns coaching staff tried to downplay it at first, calling it a miscommunication, but as more video angles circulated, that explanation stopped holding up. Shedeur Sanders, to his credit, didn't escalate. He didn't shove back. He didn't talk trash in interviews. Instead, the rookie QB stayed calm, later addressing the incident with an emphasis on team unity and growing together. In fact, Sanders' response was almost too composed. He's the one getting barked at by a veteran in front of the whole team, and yet, he's the one holding the line on professionalism. That level of poise from a first-year player didn't go unnoticed, and it might have just widened the gap in public opinion between the two. Sanders said in a post-game interview, "We've all got to be accountable, myself included. Emotions run high, but it's about staying focused on the game and the bigger picture." That soundbite immediately went viral, not just for its maturity but because it contrasted so sharply with Jeudy's outburst. The narrative quickly shifted. Was this just a sideline spat, or a deeper reflection of how a rookie handles pressure better than a vet? Jeudy hasn't helped his own case. In the wake of the incident, he stayed mostly silent, until reporters pressed him. And when he did speak, his tone didn't exactly inspire confidence. "Things happen in football," he shrugged when asked about the altercation. "We're competitors." Heat of the moment. It was the kind of non-apology that made things worse. Nowhere in that response was there a sense of remorse or responsibility. No mention of Sanders. No reflection. Just a vague dismissal. It might have slid under the radar if Jeudy had been performing well this season. But here's the problem, he hasn't. His stats are underwhelming, his effort on the field has been questioned, and his body language during games has been a recurring topic among analysts. Put all that together and the sideline blow-up starts to look like more than just a one-time flare-up. It looks like a symptom. Shannon Sharpe didn't hold back. On his show, Sharpe called the altercation disrespectful, period, and questioned what kind of message it sends when a veteran goes after a rookie quarterback like that. Shedeur's trying to lead this team. You don't embarrass your quarterback on national television and expect things to be cool afterward. That's not how leadership works. Sharpe's take went viral, with fans agreeing that Jeudy's behavior wasn't just immature, it was damaging. Other commentators piled on. Some tried to play peacemaker, saying sideline disagreements are part of the game. But most couldn't overlook the optics. A veteran wide receiver getting in the face of a rookie QB mid-game while cameras roll? That's not a competitive fire, that's a PR nightmare. Especially for a team already struggling with chemistry and consistency. Even Chad Johnson weighed in, saying that while passion is normal, public confrontation is a no-go. "That's what the locker room is for," he said in an interview. "You handle your business off camera, not when the whole country's watching." It's a sentiment echoed by coaches and former players across the board. Football's emotional, yes, but there's a code. And Jeudy broke it. At the center of this controversy is a larger issue: ego. Veteran players have to walk a fine line between asserting leadership and alienating younger talent. And right now, Jeudy's tipping too far in the wrong direction. What's more, this isn't his first attitude-related incident. There've been whispers for a while now about his temperament, his mood swings, his reluctance to take criticism. Meanwhile, Sanders has been doing the opposite. Through a tough rookie year, he's been all about progress. After games, win or lose, he focuses on what he's learning. He's taken hits, he's made mistakes, but his interviews are never excuses. He talks about the process, about building something. That's what makes the Jeudy clash feel even more jarring. You've got a rookie trying to build and a vet seemingly trying to burn it down. In a preseason post-game session, Sanders was asked directly if he felt supported by the veterans on the team. He paused before answering, then said, "Support looks different sometimes. I try not to take anything personal. I just want to win." That quote alone spoke volumes. He wasn't naming names, but the tension was obvious. Something's broken in the locker room. The NFL has launched a formal investigation into Jeudy's sideline behavior. Sources say it could lead to a multi-game suspension if they determine he violated the league's personal conduct policy. The bar for punishment isn't just about physical altercations. It's about intent, optics, and the message it sends to younger players. And when the footage shows a veteran towering over a rookie, yelling and gesturing aggressively, it's hard to spin that as competitive spirit. There's also talk inside the Browns organization about what to do next. Some are quietly asking, is it time to move on from Jeudy? His on-field production hasn't justified the drama, and his attitude may be hurting more than helping. Trading him would send a message that the team is committed to its younger core, and to a culture of respect. The Browns have been leaning into Sanders' development for weeks now. In recent games, even when the offense has sputtered, Sanders has kept a level head. During the Raiders matchup, he was seen on the sideline talking calmly with teammates, reviewing plays, staying engaged. No yelling. No finger pointing. Just quiet focus. That's the kind of leadership that wins respect, especially from coaches. Head coach Kevin Stefanski hasn't said much about the Jeudy incident publicly, but insiders say he's been impressed with how Sanders handled the drama. Behind closed doors, that could influence how the front office evaluates who they're building around. During the game against the Lions, tensions were already simmering before the outburst. Multiple sources say there were signs of frustration between Jeudy and Sanders leading up to that moment. Missed connections, misread routes, and sideline tension all built up to the explosion that caught national attention. But while Jeudy was stewing, Sanders stayed locked in. He made a few key throws late in the game, tried to rally the team, and didn't let the confrontation define the rest of his performance. That kind of resilience is rare in a rookie, especially one under this much pressure. And this isn't the first time Sanders has faced adversity. Back in preseason, he was sidelined for a game due to precautionary reasons, and even then, cameras caught him mentoring backups and staying mentally engaged. That's the kind of energy coaches love. Not just talent, but maturity, composure. All of this points to a crossroads. The Browns have to decide what kind of locker room they want. One where ego goes unchecked, or one where respect and accountability are non-negotiable. If they're serious about the latter, Jeudy's days in Cleveland might be numbered. Jeudy's attitude in the aftermath hasn't exactly been a lesson in damage control. When asked whether he'd spoken to Sanders since the incident, his response was short: "We talked. It's done." No details. No acknowledgement of fault. It wasn't just the words, it was the tone. Detached. Defensive. Almost dismissive. That kind of response doesn't build bridges. It widens the gap. And at this point, it's hard to ignore a pattern. Jeudy has shown flashes of brilliance on the field, but when things don't go his way, the frustration spills out. Teammates see it. Coaches see it. And now the world sees it. When you're supposed to be one of the veterans setting the standard, that kind of emotional volatility becomes a liability, not just for team performance but for team morale. In contrast, Shedeur Sanders continues to check every box a team could hope for in a rookie quarterback. Over the course of the season, Sanders has faced intense pressure, from the media, from opposing defenses, and now from his own teammates. And through it all, he's remained composed. Study his sideline body language and it tells the whole story. focused, engaged, constantly communicating with his offensive line and coaches. Sanders has taken responsibility when plays fall apart. He's never thrown teammates under the bus. He's focused on execution and growth. His performance has improved with every start, and the locker room has started to notice. According to sources, younger players are starting to gravitate toward him, not because he's flashy but because he's steady. In the middle of chaos, he brings calm. Kevin Stefanski hasn't explicitly taken sides, but his recent comments speak volumes. In a post-practice presser, Stefanski said, "We want guys who are about the right things. Team first, growth-oriented, resilient. That's what wins in this league." No names. But the subtext was loud. And when he went on to praise Sanders for taking ownership and leading by example, it became clear who he believed was doing things the right way. Internally, the Browns are under pressure to define their identity. Are they a team willing to tolerate ego and outbursts in exchange for talent? Or are they committed to building a culture rooted in accountability and mutual respect? Right now, Sanders fits that second mold. Jeudy doesn't. During the recent matchup against the Vikings, Sanders had one of his best games yet. He didn't light up the scoreboard, but he ran the offense with poise. He adjusted protections, read blitzes, and even scrambled for crucial first downs. More importantly, he kept the offense together, even when the defense gave up back-to-back scoring drives. Multiple teammates have reportedly praised Sanders' communication on the field. One offensive lineman told reporters that he's already acting like a 5-year vet. And during a key timeout, when tempers flared between receivers and coaches, it was Sanders who stepped in to de-escalate. Meanwhile, Jeudy was on the opposite end of the bench, visibly frustrated, helmet off, head. This all comes at a time when Jeudy's production is underwhelming. For a player who entered the league with so much hype, the numbers just aren't adding up. His yards per game are down, his catch rate is mediocre, and his effort on contested balls has been questioned by analysts. In multiple games, he's been seen giving up on routes, something that hasn't gone unnoticed by commentators or teammates. The NFL doesn't just judge players on talent anymore. It's about impact, consistency, and character. And right now, Jeudy's impact feels more negative than positive. That matters when contract talks start. It matters when front offices think about who to invest in long-term. And it definitely matters when public opinion starts to shift. Segment, SS Press Conference. Sanders, on the other hand, continues to handle pressure like a seasoned pro. At a recent press conference, he addressed the controversy again. "Look, I can't control other people. I can control how I show up, how I lead, and how I play. That's all I focus on." He didn't shade Jeudy. He didn't deflect blame. He kept the conversation about football. It's that kind of maturity that turns rookies into captains. And while Sanders may not have a C on his chest just yet, the respect he's earned in the locker room is growing. Coaches see it. Players see it. And fans are starting to rally behind it. Against the Ravens, Sanders faced relentless pressure. Baltimore's defense brought the heat on nearly every down, forcing him to make quick decisions under fire. And while the stat line wasn't flashy, he made smart plays, avoided turnovers, and kept the team in the game until the final whistle. His post-game demeanor? Same as always, calm, reflective, forward-looking. That consistency is rare. Especially for a rookie. Especially when teammates are losing their cool on the sidelines. In a high-stakes game like that, leadership isn't just about yelling in a huddle. It's about keeping your composure when everything around you is falling apart. That's what Sanders did. When the Browns faced the 49ers, tensions between Jeudy and Sanders were reportedly still simmering behind the scenes. Coaches tried to keep them separated during warm-ups. On the field, there were noticeable communication breakdowns. One play in particular, a misread on a deep route, led to a turnover. Cameras caught Jeudy visibly frustrated, while Sanders calmly discussed the coverage with the offensive coordinator. That moment encapsulated the whole dynamic. Jeudy reacts. Sanders responds. One blames. The other adjusts. In a league that demands mental toughness, those differences matter more than any 40-yard dash time. Sources close to the team say Sanders has continued to lead behind the scenes. He's stayed late at practice. He's reviewing film with coaches. He's texting receivers about timing. In short, he's doing the work. And it's changing how people inside the building talk about him. What started as a promising rookie campaign is now looking like the foundation of something bigger. Sanders may not be the flashiest quarterback, but he's a builder. And in a league full of chaos, teams crave stability. That's why conversations are starting to happen, not just about Jeudy's future but about what kind of culture the Browns want long-term. This brings everything back to the Browns' front office. The incident between Jeudy and Sanders wasn't just a flashpoint, it was a wake-up call. The team now has to decide, is Jeudy worth the drama? Is his production enough to outweigh the leadership vacuum he's created? Or is it time to move on and let the next generation, led by Sanders, set the tone? If the Browns want to build something lasting, the answer seems obvious. Discipline, culture, respect. These aren't buzzwords, they're non-negotiables. And if a player, no matter how talented, can't buy into that, then the team is better off without them. During the matchup with the Packers, all eyes were on Shedeur Sanders, not because of a touchdown streak or jaw-dropping highlight, but because of the way he carried himself under pressure. The offense was sputtering early, receivers were dropping passes, and Jeudy once again looked out of sync. But Sanders didn't crack. He kept moving the ball, adjusting protections, calling plays, and talking to his teammates between drives. At one point he was seen pulling a rookie wideout aside after a blown route, not yelling, not berating, just calmly going over what happened. That moment made the rounds on social media, with fans praising Sanders' poise. It's the kind of clip you expect from a 10-year vet, not a player still adjusting to NFL speed. Meanwhile, Jeudy's body language continues to be a storyline. During that same Packers game, after missing a critical third-down conversion, cameras caught him tossing his gloves toward the bench and sulking alone near the end of the sideline. No interaction with coaches. No support shown for teammates. Just isolation. Veteran receivers are expected to lead when things go wrong, not check out. And this isn't an isolated event. Over the last several games, Jeudy's visible frustration, whether with play calling or lack of targets, has grown louder than his actual stats. It's not just unhelpful, it's toxic. When your rookie QB is showing more leadership than your top receiver, there's a real problem. And it didn't start in the regular season either. Reports from training camp already painted a clear picture of Sanders as a steady, mature presence. Coaches praised his preparation and humility, saying he took every rep seriously and asked questions instead of pretending to know it all. By contrast, Jeudy's offseason was quiet. Too quiet. No standout moments, no signs of mentorship, no notable leadership displays. Some in the organization reportedly hoped Jeudy would take Sanders under his wing, help him adjust to the league's tempo and locker room politics. But that never happened. Instead, from the jump, Jeudy seemed disinterested in the rookie's rise. Not threatened exactly, more dismissive. Then came the Patriots game where tensions nearly boiled over again. On the field, the Browns' offense was chaotic. Misreads. Turnovers. Missed assignments. On the sideline, tempers flared again, and while it didn't erupt like the Bears game, insiders say that Jeudy and Sanders were seen exchanging heated words post-drive. Coaches separated them quickly, but the tension didn't go unnoticed by cameras or the broadcast team. Commentators speculated about growing cracks in team chemistry. One even asked mid-game, at what point does leadership start holding people accountable? It was a jab, but it landed. Because from the outside it looked like a team unraveling, and a veteran not helping matters. By the time the Browns faced the Dolphins, the storyline was unavoidable. Jeudy and Sanders were no longer just two players, they were symbols of the team's internal identity crisis. Old school versus new era. Ego versus humility. The camera kept cutting to their interactions, looking for any sign of resolution. But there was none. On a critical drive late in the third quarter, Sanders attempted a sideline pass to Jeudy, who didn't turn in time. Incomplete. Sanders gestured for a reset. Jeudy threw his hands up. It didn't erupt into a scene, but it was enough. The trust wasn't there. And when trust breaks down between a QB and his receiver, everything else follows. What makes Sanders stand out isn't just how he plays, it's how he responds. Against the Titans he got hit hard, physically and mentally. Multiple sacks. A tipped interception. A hostile crowd. But he never lost composure. He gathered the offense after each possession. Kept guys calm. Encouraged receivers. The exact opposite of panic. That kind of resolve is hard to teach. Coaches can design schemes, call plays, and coach technique, but that mental toughness? That's internal. And it's what makes Sanders different. The Browns are beginning to see that. The question now is whether they're willing to pivot around it, build the culture around a player who wants to grow, rather than one who wants to control. Things came to a head during the Jets game. Early in the second quarter, Sanders threw a beautiful pass to Jeudy, who hesitated on the route and missed the timing. Incomplete again. On the sideline, Sanders approached him, calmly, and Jeudy waved him off. Cameras caught it. The optics were bad. Coaches quickly intervened, but by then fans were already reacting online. Former players tweeted that the scene was unacceptable, that if Jeudy can't handle correction from a QB rookie or not, he shouldn't be on the field. And those tweets gained traction, reinforcing a growing public narrative. Jeudy isn't just struggling, he's resisting leadership from a player clearly earning his role. It's also worth remembering what Sanders is working through physically. Earlier in the season, he suffered a minor back injury that sidelined him for part of a game. Despite being in obvious discomfort, he returned the following week and played through it without complaint. That kind of grit resonated with fans and teammates. Photos from that stretch show Sanders on the sideline, wrapped in heating pads, clearly hurting, yet still coaching up his teammates, engaging in huddles and staying focused. That commitment is hard to ignore, especially when juxtaposed with a teammate who's visibly disengaged when things don't go his way. During the Rams game, Jeudy's frustration hit another peak. After a failed drive, he slammed his helmet into the turf and reportedly exchanged words with an assistant coach. Sanders, meanwhile, was seen pacing the sideline, holding a tablet, reviewing footage, and speaking with his offensive line. It was a subtle but telling visual. One player throwing a tantrum, the other focused on the next play. The divide has become so pronounced that even national media have started speculating about a potential trade. If the Browns want to truly invest in Sanders, they may need to remove the distractions, and Jeudy has become the most glaring one. With the Bengals matchup looming, all signs point toward a turning point. Internally, sources say conversations are happening at the highest level about team culture, about accountability, about long-term direction, and yes, about whether Jerry Jeudy fits into any of those plans. Because this isn't just about a sideline scuffle anymore. It's about the kind of team the Browns want to be. Do they want to reward ego or elevate leadership? Do they want highlight reels or locker room harmony? The truth is, they may not be able to have both, not with these two in the same offense. The Browns are standing at a crossroads, and fans know it. So where do you stand? Is it time to let Jeudy go and fully build around Sanders? Can this team fix the culture before it fractures completely? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you're still here soaking up this saga, hit that like, send it to someone who's been watching the Browns spiral, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter in this wild NFL drama.